gentlemen.
Hi.
6:30 on a Friday. I know it's tough. My name is Christopher Deming. I'm the Director of Organizational Partnerships and Alumni Relations. The running joke is that, yes, I do have a title nearly as long as Dr. Ash's. I'm still waiting to tag another line underneath of it so that someday I could surpass him in title. So, I wanted to welcome you to Northwood University Alumni Project 100. This is the third time we've been able to do this event, wherein we get 100 alumni together to donate $100 to put their vote in for a $10,000 project somewhere on campus. It's open to academic departments. It's open to registered student organizations. It's welcome to anyone who's willing to put some sort of improvement here on campus. And I'm happy to say that this year we have 3 very deserving organizations ready to persuade you, the audience, those of you who trudged through the snow, the sleet, the hail to get here tonight, and those of you that are watching online, to be able to persuade you their project is the most deserving. Now, I won't spend too much time up here taking away from their time, but the format is as follows. They have up to 10 minutes to persuade you on their project alone. Each group will stand up here, give their presentation, the next group will follow. We save all questions, both online and in person, until the very end. Give them an opportunity to come up here and answer any questions that you may have. Now, when it comes to voting, those of you who are members should have received the voting information in your email. If not, we'll have a reminder at the very end of this to allow you to log in. You can log in now if you so choose. For those of you that are at home, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or suggestions, feel free to input them in the question box on that link. Now, if you have any questions about audio or questions about video, we have a student worker, Katie, in the back. Thanks, Katie. To be able to help us make sure we can sort those out through the night to make sure everyone's happy. Now, I did want to take a brief moment. You may notice that our fair, fearless leader, Julia Damchek, is not here tonight. I did want to just take a moment. Her son was severely ill with flu and is not going to be able to come here tonight. So if you could just say thanks to Julie and her son, William. We hope you get better, William. Hope you get better soon. She's at home viewing it, so make sure you put it on the camera whenever you get an opportunity. So without further ado, I'd like to go ahead and introduce and ask our aftermarket students to come up and do their presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, aftermarket.
Major.
Aftermarket major program. We're passionate group of students. We have a lot of passion for our major. We also have a lot of passion for what we do outside of school. And that, as shown by this photo up here, is we work on our cars. We work on cars, we research cars, we do all kinds of things, all kinds of cars. And there are a lot of alumni out there that do the same thing with their day as well.
So we've noticed a significant problem in recent years. That's the lack of awareness of the aftermarket program itself.
From the outside, not many people
We're aware of what Northwood University offers to its students.
and it's apparent among the students as well. Here we have Brooke. Before she came to Northwood, she in fact had no idea
That the program existed. Even at orientation, people were getting mixed up between aftermarket and dealership, and there's really no
significant difference between the two that people could see from the outside, and the counter experiences as well.
You had no idea that there was a difference between the dealer side and the aftermarket side. This graph shows that
There's quite a bit of declining enrollment.
right now. Since 2004,
The aftermarket program has been declining significantly, starting at 130 students in the program, all the way down to 2013, and as low as 45.
There are more jobs in this industry than there are students. We need to express this to the students and have them Northwood, because there are so many advantages to being a Northwood student. With this decline right here, it is evident that we need to do something about this. We're a difficult industry to understand. Our own textbook is called the invisible industry. A lot of people don't realize that it's out there. You see dealerships, but you really don't think about the parts industry or what goes into making that car. At Northwood, there's a lack of draw for people. We don't have enough program awareness like some of these universities here do. That would be UNO, Ohio, UTI, or even Kettering here in Michigan.
order to recruit, we want to drive on-campus involvement to a much higher level. We need a learning supplement or tool here that we can work with and educate the students on both sides of the industry, both technical and the business side. We'd like to really temper students through their passion about the stuff that we do on our own outside of school. And then we also want to provide an opportunity for them to practice their hobby here on campus. Students can understand the technical and business side, like I said before. This is a big deal with project management skills that we can bring to the table, accounting skills in a project such as what we'd like to propose to you today.
So in the previous slide, we
Showed pictures just of cars from other universities such as UNOH or UTI, and they all had, like I said, some kind of car, some kind of image to give students a tangible thing that students can latch onto and say, hey, I want to be a part of that.
So we kind of come up with the same idea, and we'd like to introduce a Northwood project vehicle. The goal of this is to connect potential students and really express their passion through this car and give you a look into both sides of business as well as the technical side.
So we want to have the same vision that we do. We made a picture for you to understand. This is what the truck or vehicle would look like at the end. Here, displayed in the Sloan building, it can be taken to auto shows, both national and here, even at the home front at Northwood. We can take it to the Las Vegas SEMA and Apex shows, which is the largest trade show for our industry in the world. These are all big deal, big names that we'd like to display with that would absolutely welcome them. So at Cabrini University, they did something simple. They took new students' cars and wrapped them with images discussing the benefits of Cabrini University. Because of that, they produced a double-digit increase in pilots for online enrollment in the fall. That's a big deal. This is something that we'd like to see come to our program, especially with our current decline in numbers. So we'd like to produce a 5-year enrollment boom from this project vehicle. We believe that this would reach all the way down from current high school students all the way down to 8th grade students here at middle school that are going to be coming into high school and researching for the first time where they may want to go to high school or to college. And because of this, we think that we'd create a 5-year enrollment boom that would drive students to come and participate in our program, put a hand on the car, or maybe just be proud to be a Northwood student because they have this truck that they want to hold dear and near to their own passion at home. It would provide them with a hands-on experience, and all of the new hires that the industry is looking for today you could really influence their passion into the aftermarket industry with this connectable item that they mentioned before. So we have a lot of alumni and donors standing by at some point right now that would like to participate in this program, including people such as Redmond.
My older brother went to Northwood as well, and that was my first affiliation with Northwood. He got a job in the industry as a representative with an agency, so basically a sales rep is what he was doing. I was amazed that when he would come home and he'd have manufacturer's vehicles, or he'd have all these products that were bolt-ons, all these things that just like, oh my goodness, dreams as you're a young man that you want to get your hands on and figure out how to play with and really enjoy for yourself. And I was thinking to myself as I was growing up and going through school and trying to pick colleges, it's like, man, I really want to get into this.
So what Kerry just talked about is that even as an alumni, he still has the passion that we do. He's still playing with cars, like some even children play with little toy cars. Well, we want to play with cars here and really exercise our passion.
So the overarching point that we've been making is to increase enrollment, and through that we've reached out to HH Dow High School and their auto shop program. Although Northwood is not a technical program by any means, we are going to need help from other institutions around the area, and they're more than willing to help us out. Just do small brake jobs, tune-up, stuff like that, to even entice local students to come to Northwood. In addition, we have a couple aftermarket students who work at Higher Standards Automotive, and they're willing to
allow us to use some of their storage space as well as technical space.
Absolutely, and the aftermarket industry is willing to contribute in terms of parts, service, labor, and we even have created a budget that reflects retail costs, but everybody in this industry knows that we don't have to pay retail. And so right here we have a generalization of our budget, including a original purchase price of the vehicle of $1,500. Now, somebody on the outside of the industry, you might not believe that you could purchase a car for $1,500 and create a great representation of what Northwood has to offer for $10 grand, but you certainly can. With our research and with our outreach to the aftermarket alumni here at Northwood, we have determined that it is possible with $10,000, but we do believe that this will be a project that is finished on time and under budget.
In some of our previous aftermarket group meetings, we have discussed the timeline, so we're not going in completely blind if we do happen to win. So some big dates to take note of. The day after, we hope to start organizing a team and create a task force and start delegating tasks to individuals that can do anything from
finance, handling our money, to researching parts and finding the best price where we're going to get those parts. Moving on to the spring, by March 1st, we hope to
have the car purchased and retrieved, whether that's through a trailer or some other means of transportation.
And we're also going to work with
Dow High for some small projects, and that's going to continue into summer break.
with students and their private garages and something like that. So, obviously, the big day we have highlighted up here is October 1st. That is our goal to finish the build in preparation for the Northwood University Auto Show, which there will be many students there, prospective students, and they'd like to really look at that and get their hands on it.
Absolutely. And we take this vehicle all across the country to different high schools, and especially the Aid Cpr show, where we hope to have a donor or alumni help us get in contact with companies that are already talking to us about getting Northwood out there. We go out as a major every year, and we'd like to have a vehicle to represent ourselves at the show as well. Once finished, again, for the second time, this is what we'd like the vehicle to look like, whether it's a truck or a different type of vehicle. We want it to be something that the students can be proud of. We want it to be something on display. This is going to be something that when people are touring Northwood, they're going to see. This will be something that kids will want to take a selfie with. I mean, this is a big deal. This is an attraction to Northwood. And again, we're passionate students. This is what we're all about, and we really want we want to come back on Monday and tell our student body that, hey, we want this for you guys, and everybody's going to be taking part on this, and everybody's already happy and smiling that we're even considering this, and we hope that you guys can help us out with that.
Thank you so much for your presentation. For those of you at home, I do understand that we're having some audio issues. I'd like to say we are in the brand new Plaster Center, McNair Center of Northwood University. It is not without some of its learning curves, but we have the best of the business here in Dale Robbins, and he is troubleshooting as we speak. So we're hoping that in the next presentation, those of you at home, you got all the information you needed from the first group. If you didn't get all the information you needed, please be sure to submit those questions on the Slido app, and we'll be able to address those later after the other two groups go. So with that, I'd like to invite our second group, the Healthcare Initiative Group, to present.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Charles Russell,
And I'm Jesse Hall.
and we are a part of the Healthcare Management Organization. And a lot of you, we spoke outside and talked, and a lot of you don't know about the new healthcare major that's out here. So we're here to present to you some things and give you some more insight. Our proposal to you guys is campus-wide health and wellness for students, staff, faculty, and community members. So we're looking out just like how the aftermarket did. They're trying to bring the community and everybody together, and we feel like these proposals with our three-pronged attack would help out. We are thinking about bringing in first aid kits in the classrooms, first aid and CPR certifications, and health and wellness for the students as well.
So the first thing that we do would be bringing in first aid kits to the classrooms. The aid kits would include Band-Aids, gauze pads, alcohol wipes. So this idea came to us because recently I had a friend who was going to go give a presentation for her class, and she was wearing shoes and they gave her blisters. So I found her in the bathroom shoving toilet paper in her shoes where her blisters were. She couldn't find Professor Bacon, who was known to carry around Band-Aids around campus. So by doing this, it would prevent this cause or the need. So students could go to the classrooms and get Band-Aids when they need them. So we would put Nurse Sue's number in there in case there's something more severe and we have to reach out to her. We'd also put in a contact number so that if supplies can be replenished in the cases, we can just come and bring them right in.
First aid and CPR certification. As I work at the Hot Center employee, and NABA hotel employees and healthcare interns and other people as well are first aid certified. I didn't really notice like how much it like brought up to my attention what we need to do and things like that. Like a lot of people think it's just mouth to mouth and things like that, but there's a lot more information and a lot more things that you need to learn. And I feel as if we're going to have staff and faculty members and things like that, they should be first aid certified as well, just in case anything happens. You never know. A kid might go to the mid-cap and might be choking on a fry or something like that because he ate too fast or something like that. What are you going to do? You're just going to like push on his chest real quick or something. You know what I mean? Like we don't want a bad situation to turn worse. We want everybody to feel safe and be able to go out of their way. And another thing that I feel like we should be able to do is train the captains and co-captains as well for auto show. And that would be a good thing for the healthcare organization to bring their names out because auto show is a very big thing here at Northwood. And we would have the captains, like, it would be on the sign saying that healthcare organization help the co-captains and captains and train them first aid certified because you never know. We bring a lot of people into Northwood through our auto show industry.
So Midland does not have a CPR training center. We used to have the American Red Cross Training Center here in Midland, but it closed in 2013. So the closest training center is now in Saginaw. So what we plan to do is also reach out to the community and train them, like Girl Scout leaders, Boy Scout leaders, high schoolers, coaches, so that they can get involved with our school too and bring them in and show them our school and have them get certified when they want.
Health and Wellness Awareness Week. We did this early in the spring semester. We would revamp it and fix it and things like that if we received the money. But we started off like training people to like learn how to like be more healthy around school. And it is flu season, as our presenter earlier said. And it's pretty bad, like how a lot of students you'll notice in classes because we don't have like a big campus, and you'll notice a lot of students absent, and professors will notice that too. And that's because of like the flu season, things like that. And we wanted to present them a healthier alternative and ways to be able to be more like active and be able to participate in your classes and things like that.
So one thing we bring to this Health and Wellness Week is we bring a Glow Germ hand washing training kit. So basically what it is you get a gel or a lotion and you put it on your hands and you rub it around and then you go to the bathroom and wash your hands. And then when you come back to us, we get a black light, put your hands under it, and what glows is all the germs that is left on your hands. So by doing this, we'll be teaching the students the proper way of washing and show them, like, you might think you're doing a good job, but you still have a ton of disgusting germs on your hands. So this previous Health and Wellness Awareness Week, we did healthy food recipes that are dorm friendly. So then you know, when you live in a dorm, you might not have access to a full kitchen. So we came up with recipe cards that you could do on campus, so all you need was a microwave. And we'd also get a My Plate health fair kit, so basically tell you what vegetables and fruits you need during the day. And this would also give us ways to tell you how to get physical activity in throughout the day without having to go to a gym for like an hour and a half.
Stress relief and survival kits. As a lot of you alumni know that college can be stressful and we have finals and midterms and things like that. And here and there we'll get stress balls and people might go out and buy a stress ball or things like that. But during our Health and Wellness Awareness Week, we realized like we can just find a way to just get a balloon, fill it with flour, and it can be a stress ball. And that's a lot cheaper for us college students because we don't have the money for it. So I think that would just be very interesting. And final survival kit, like it would be nice to like just put little snacks and things like that into the kits, as well as making like a stress relief hand sanitizer. Like it just kind of relieves your stress and things like that. So we think that's a really cool thing to do as well. And thank you so much for your time.
All right. Last, but certainly not least, we have the Timby News Network and John here to present his argument for the $10,000. John?
Well, good evening, everyone. My name is John Perot, and I'm a student member of Timby Media here at Northwood University. Since we're a media organization, we figured that it would be best to show you what we do best. So, I have a video from our very own Olivia Gerholski, and that'll showcase all the great things that we do and where we've come from and where we want to go.
welcome Northwood University alumni to your very own Timby Student Network episode, a Timby Media production. I'm Olivia Grahalski, a current undergrad student studying sports management. We at Timby Media want to thank you for the opportunity to inform you about our organization and how it's just $8,000 away from becoming Northwood University's first fully functional student media and production organization. Now let's begin by taking a look at our story and how it led us to where we are today. In 2015, Timby Media was born. Two brothers, Nicholas and Christopher Pollone, brought all of their knowledge as well as their assets of digital media to the table. Nick and Chris have their own production company and several years of experience. They've also assisted in several marketing projects for Northwood University. As student interest grew in the organization and more students brought their assets to the table, the organization was able to produce its first student news episodes. This is when I joined as the first host of the show. Alumni, you are working professionals. In today's world, you probably have first-hand experience with the power and effectiveness that storytelling can have once coupled with audio and visual media. Our mission is to teach students all aspects of digital media production with a focus on the art of storytelling to engage the target audience. We give students professional opportunities to apply what they learn by working together to creatively produce content that entertains as well as informs. But we believe that skills and experience aren't the only thing we can offer students. Personally, Timby Media has been a large contributor to my own portfolio. Through searching for internships and full-time positions and speaking with professionals in my network, I found that many of them have asked for my personal portfolio to showcase the work that I've done. We know that providing students with tangible evidence of their work will set them apart and give them a competitive edge in the industry. We've used YouTube and Facebook to publish our content and have grown tremendously over a 3-year period. This has resulted in 66 videos published, over 1,000 views per video, and an average of 200 followers. We've even had to create a sub-organization called Timby Student Network. This reaches alumni, parents, faculty, students in and out of the United States. Our videos are used as a major marketing tool for student organizations and campus events. Outside of our news element, we've produced short videos for other student organizations and enjoy creating occasional short films. Imagine being a freshman who wants to join a digital media production organization to better your skill set for your future. However, once joining, you realize that if you want to create any shows or short films, you have to go through Joe to use his camera. Once using Joe's camera, you have to edit the video, but in order to do so, you have to go through Jane because she's the only one in the organization who can afford the software on her computer. Though we have had great success in some ways, we found that our attempts to make this organization sustainable have failed. We depend solely on students for assets. This makes equipment inaccessible all the time and creates an editing nightmare. As students graduate, their equipment goes with them. This means that the organization lacks the necessary equipment that's needed in order to create content that's produced at the highest and most professional level that we aspire to reach. We believe that the best way to create a sustainable media organization is to obtain funding for the necessary assets that students otherwise would not have access to. This will open the door for more students to receive marketing experience, leadership skills, as well as a necessary portfolio to achieve the career they've always desired. We'll work alongside other student organizations to help them generate content. Ultimately, we'll be able to create educational experiences for students and helping them learn the professional digital media industry. Before we go, our presenter John Perot will review a breakdown of the cost.
So there you have it. That tells you a little bit about our organization, who we are, what we do, and where we want to go. So let's talk more specifically about the scope of the project. First off, we just found out in the past week that over this next spring break, Northwood University will be revamping one of its computer labs in Jordan's lower hall. This means that they're bringing more powerful equipment, and when we have that powerful equipment, that means that we can run the latest versions of the Adobe Creative Suite, which is an industry standard. So finally, that means that our funding need of only $8,000 would go toward the purchase of equipment, which we're really excited for. So for equipment, we'd like to invest in a Sony 4K camera so it's 4K compatible and we'll be able to use in our new Jordan Hall lab to edit for post-production. We'd also like to use a Canon EOS 6D Mark II full-frame DSLR and a variety of lenses so we can capture some unique shots. This equipment, though not professional grade, is the next level up in the pro-consumer world, which will be a really good basis as we start to grow over the next few years. Obviously, an important aspect is video, but so is audio, and that's where our Rode Video Mic, Audio Technica, and Sennheiser microphones come in handy. Finally, you have to have some accessories when you're doing a shoot. This includes a boom pole and cords, SD cards, production bags to carry all the equipment, headphones, rechargeable batteries, tripods, sliders, and much more to create more dynamic shots. So of course we have our deliverables to Northwood University. This can include registered student organizations who might be looking to recruit freshmen. We have end-use educational departments. So say you're in the marketing department and you want a video to propose and put it on the website to make people want to come to Northwood. It's a really great opportunity. Third, student entertainment. One thing we've done for the past 2 years is our Fright Night event. We make a scary movie that's 100% student run, and we have a great time showing it in our Griswold Lecture Hall. Finally, of course, we have our weekly news program, Timmy Student News, which is run every week on our Facebook and YouTube channels and accesses students, alumni, and parents from across the state and even the country. Of course, there's the deliverables to the students as well. It's industry standard software, learning Photoshop, Illustrator, After Effects, and Adobe Premiere. With all these things combined, students have what they need as they move on into their future careers. Students learn pre-production, the planning and how to tell the story, the production, how to put it all together and direct, and the post-production, how to edit it and make it ready for the future. With that being said, we know that Timmy Media is a great organization. We've proven that over the past 3 years, but we're ready to go to the next step. And with all of you at Project 100, we know we can get there. On behalf of all of us, we'd like to thank you for taking the time to be here in person or online. And of course, we really look forward to sharing our creative content with you in the future. Thank you.
I would like to say, just for those who are interested, that was not a remix video. And I do want to point out that our wonderful audio-visual people in the back tested that video 6 times before you all arrived here, and it worked flawlessly until you all sat down to watch it. So, wonderful job. All 3 groups. One big round of applause for all 3 of our groups, please. But all of these presentations are not just as easy as giving us information. We expect some answers to some questions too. So I'd like to invite all of our student presenters back up on the stage here. And I'd also like you to grab a chair here on the side and bring it towards the center. For those of you watching online, now is the time to submit those questions. We've had a few already come in. I also want to encourage our people here in the audience to come up with some questions. I do want to let you know, though, because of the audio issues that we were having earlier in the evening, we won't be able to use the microphones that are based in the ceiling of this room in order for the people online to hear the questions you may have here in the room. So if you have a question, please direct them up here, but wait for me to repeat the question so that the people online can hear the question as well. Questions, comments, concerns, or suggestions before we get along? All right, I will go ahead and start right out of the gate. We've had a question for the automotive group, and I think it's a good one. We all know that Midlands is a little bit of a different city in the summertime, and the question is, what is the plan for work continuity in the summer months when most students are away from campus?
This is a great question. I appreciate this question. Something we have all talked about in our aftermarket group. We have a bunch of motivated students that would like to take hold of the project and take it to their own facilities. These are people that have connections with within their family, within where they work, where they can work on the vehicle at a low cost and at a rate over the summer that will work with our October 1st deadline. I myself have my own facility. It is back in Illinois, but I do have a plan for transport if it does come to that, to make sure that this project does come along swimmingly. additional tweaking. Please bear with us. Additional question for Timby Media. Who does Northwood Video currently?
Yes, so Northwood University Video is done by, they have a department, so it's Ron and also a student assistant. Currently, that means that they're pretty swamped with a lot of the projects that they have. So if there's any way that we can promote our own student organizations through our media organization, that can make them so that they can produce even better content than they already do. And then we also have our separate entity.
So for Timmy Media, can you talk about so first of all, do I understand properly that Adobe Creative Suite and these new computers, they're just going to be in the lab no matter what? That's not part of this, right?
Correct. They're going to be in the lab. That was within the past week we just found out. Yep.
Okay, that's really cool. How accessible will this equipment be beyond Timmy Media? I guess what I mean is, are there other groups who might need cameras and things like that? And to what extent would this stuff be shareable, or would it only be within Timby Media?
Yeah, well, we're hoping that within Timby Media, we'll be able to learn the whole process from pre-production to post-production. Of course, a big factor in that is that we have the ability to work with other student organizations, and the goal is that if they want to borrow the camera equipment, because we have to have some sort of liability, so if they did want to, we're interested in putting together a video, we'd love to have them join our team, learn how to make the video, and learn how that whole process. So I think it's not a factor of, we don't want to just loan our stuff out, so someone who might drop it or not understand the functions of it, but work with the different students and the different organizations to build that.
We actually have a follow-up question for Timby. Who is going to be maintaining the ownership of this equipment? I think the question was first you as an organization, and then as a follow-up to that, where will it be stored?
Yeah, so we've had several discussions with the university over the past couple of weeks, and a big part of that was exactly with the storage of it. We are working with Residence Life to have a small section that can be locked up with a safe to keep everything combined and all together. And then having that Jordan Hall and having that access and having access to that room will provide some help and factor with that. In terms of maintaining the equipment, as far as we're aware, it would fall under Timby Media. The really cool thing is that we kind of have a succession plan as our students are graduating. So right now, the individual that's in charge of the group, who was unable to make it tonight due to the weather, he is graduating fairly quickly. But I happen to be a freshman, and so we have a lot of freshmen and good mix of students, and so we have a succession plan of how that's going to work in terms of individuals.
For the healthcare group, could you break down the costs of all the first aid kits, AED, the programs that you're going to implement?
Yes, each cost, I forgot to put that on our slideshow, but we have cost of how much each thing would cost. Say hypothetically we had 75 rooms all around campus. It would be approximately about $645 from my understanding of what I can remember off the bat. And we would just keep breaking down each cost and everything like that. We'd be under about $500, so we'd be around $9,500 of all the money that would be combined. And then if we had the extra $500, we would use it towards certification and buying more books and things like that, during the CPR and our first aid classes and things like that. We wouldn't just keep it for ourselves, we'd keep pushing it and making sure that our agenda keeps going forward as well.
You want more specifics?
Of course. If you have them.
For the first aid CPR, it's about $5,000. It's about $2,000 to buy a kit that would have the 4 little Annies, the 4 infants, everything that you need to do the certification for 8 people at a time. And then breaking it down further, like I said, within the 5,000, then it was, they were proposing 100 kits for the first aid, with the little ties and all that stuff to actually do it, 100 books, booklets and that kind of a thing. And then the face guards for the CPR for the dummies, so that you had the lungs, the face guards feel and the lungs and that kind of a thing. So the plan was to get the kits, which was a couple thousand, and then the rest of the 3,000 was to get 2 people certified to be certified trainers, and then all of the materials for about 100 people to be trained. And then the plan was for them to charge $5 per person to be trained until those supplies were used. And then after the supplies were used, then have the person who was trained pay for that $5 plus training materials. So it would be sustainable. So they could use that $5 for next year to train more people. So that way they would always have, every year they would add a student to be a trainer. And then about $5,000 for the Health and Wellness Week stuff to get the glow germ stuff and the displays for the rate your plate food things, stuff to put in the stress kits. They planned on about 100 stress kits to put out during the Wellness Week kinds of things. And then to promote the first aid CPR, during the Wellness Week, they would have little demonstrations and stuff like that, and then have people sign up because they figured they could do about 8 people at a time. So it's not like you can do the whole campus all at once. Did I break down the cost right? Good. Any other questions? They have more answers.
Lisa, would you just introduce yourself very
I'm sorry, I'm Lisa Bacon. I'm the department chair for the Healthcare Management Program, and I'm the advisor for NUSHMO, which is the Northwood University Student Healthcare Management Organization. NUSHMO. Took us a half hour to come up with that name.
an authority on the costs, that's for sure.
They had to share that with me, too.
So the online queue for questions is currently empty. I do know some people kind of step away for a second, so I do want to just give one more minute for any additional questions to come in online. If there's any additional questions here in person, I'm happy to field those as well.
Just real quick, and then this isn't even important, but for TV Media, what was your final budget number?
Yeah, our final budget number is the 8,000.
Why?
Reason being is because any extra funds that we get, we want to put toward batteries, because all of these things need batteries as a part of it. And obviously, I'm sure you guys know, it's very expensive when those things add up. So that's kind of what we're thinking on there.
Yeah, I was just curious, because
Yeah.
they have 10,000, you guys 3,000. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. We do have another question for the healthcare students. What does it take to be a Red Cross certification center, and could you gain that through this project to bring that resource back to the Midland community?
Our goal would be to bring it back to the Midland community because, as shown in our presentation, that in 2013 they shut it down and on the wall. So it was like we were closed in 2013. You have to drive all the way out to Saginaw and things like that. And
It's
300
per person.
per person, yeah.
To be certified.
Any further questions, comments?
This question is for all groups. Could each of you take a moment and explain how you can incorporate other groups and other students throughout campus? Obviously, we have representation from aftermarket, healthcare, and the Tempe News Media, but would there be ways that you could incorporate students of other disciplines to also partake in this so that this isn't necessarily, these funds aren't just used for one particular area, so it could be as engaging as possible for our student body?
That's a really good question, actually. I think for our project, there's a lot of facets that can be applied to other majors. Like we discussed, there was the next day after, if we do win this project, we'll start delegating tasks. And, part of building a car, it's not just, getting hands-on and building it. It's, all right, you need to build out, what parts do you need? You can have people from finance, from accounting, keep us manageable, watch our assets and watch our money and how much we're using. In addition, you can even, as we're building this car, you can put out on Blackboard possibly, hey, come down to this place and learn how to, change your brakes, change your oil, maintenance stuff that everybody in their lives, everybody in this audience, I'm sure, either has done or would like to learn. So.
Going into jobs, like some people actually require you to be CPR certified. So going in saying, I was a Northwood student, I got CPR certified, you'll have an advantage because you don't have to go through that once you get hired in. And it's not just healthcare students that can go in and get certified. Like we want to bring all the students in, like between the aftermarket students or the automotive, because if they're working auto show or marketing, any campus club can be involved in it.
And for Tempe Media, we really want to work with other student organizations on campus. This year, we've had an outpouring. At the start of the year, we had so many people that were interested in being a part of our group, but we simply didn't have the assets to support all the different projects that were things that they wanted to do. All the fraternities, sororities, they all wanted to do videos, and unfortunately, we didn't have camera equipment to be able to do all those in that specific time frame. And so we have those requests from students and other students that want to get involved, especially with the Adobe industry standards that they have. And having that on your resume, I mean, students are finding that, especially Olivia, that was one of her biggest things that has helped her, is that she understands the program, she understands the process.
If I may add to that, I'm Chris Pollone, I'm one of the founders of the organization. Just to expound on what John was saying, is that we're trying to, that's really the goal of this organization. I mean, it's to highlight student achievement. And not just advertising students, marketing students, but the new health program, which is my first time hearing about it. I think we could incorporate a show that we have our team, right? We have a team of creative people who are trained on the use of the equipment, trained on the use of editing software, and work with them to create a health series about creating awareness. They could make a weekly show of it. So this is really what TIMBY is trying to achieve here, is to work with these other organizations. But as John explained, the issue with that, which is that we're using student equipment, and it's hard for those students to always make it to all the shoots and all the projects that we want to work on. So this would really open up the doors to be working with those organizations and other students who have different ideas, film ideas, video ideas, etc.
We have two additional questions for the healthcare students.
Tied a little bit together, but
if you could just briefly explain what the plan is to sustain
the refills for the first aid kits that are going to be on campus,
where will those
materials are going to come from.
and be in charge of making sure that those things are restocked and refilled. And then secondly,
what, if any, role will
current security on campus play with this in terms of training or
the direct question, how does the security currently provide safe university training for the university play?
So what we're planning on doing is buying enough stock at first so that we can go through another round of replenishing the first aid kits, and then through that, when you join the club, we do get you have to pay a membership fee, so that we go towards buying the supplies after we run out of the first case, and then maybe donations or other ways to find the money to replenish them.
And then through the security aspect, we would have Nurse Sue's contact in there as well. We would have our professors, because she's going to be here longer, because we'll be graduating in a couple of years and things like that. So it would be making sure that it's replenished. And through the security, we would have to figure out a way to make amends with them and be able to make sure that we can make sure everybody's first aid certified and push everything forward.
Question for TIMBY Media. How many members do you guys currently have in your organization?
Yeah, currently in the organization, we have about 20 members. We have about 6 that we consider our executive board, and then we have about 20 total. And they've seen that number. I'm a freshman, but the past years in going forward, they've seen such a substantial increase in members, especially as the way the world's turning more toward video and creative media.
We're coming to the end of our dedicated question and answer time. I would like you to join me in giving an applause to these wonderful students for answering your questions.
Now is the time, though, decisions are made. So for that reason, I would ask our students to sequester yourselves into the office that we pointed out earlier. I will be keeping an eye to make sure you are not peeking. Those of you who are not here at the Classroom Center, we do have a back wall that is made entirely of glass. And for the sake of showmanship, we often like to surprise our students with results, and can't really do that if they're standing in the hallway.
Awesome. So,
the next step, which you all should be pretty familiar with, is going to the website. You can go to www.slido.com or sli.do and type in the hashtag NDProject100. It should populate as soon as you go in there.
we'll spend the next 5 minutes
collecting your votes, and we will show this
live as soon as
I actually get up.
Are we not arguing, debating?
You're welcome to talk among yourselves.
Don't argue.
This is not a closed session now. For those of you at home, I apologize. You won't be able to participate in the banter, but you're more than welcome to listen to it.
We're gonna banter.
Banter away.
Is the Timby, maybe I, glazed over at this point, is Timby News Media, is that actually a student organization? Is that a subset of Northwood? Or is that their own separate entity? Because I know the Pollons also have their own company. The one brother that was here and then his other brother, Nick. Anybody know the answer to that?
It is a completely student-run, from what I know.
It's a registered student organization only.
Okay, so then the assets being purchased to be operated under Timby Media would be Northwood assets?
Correct.
Okay.
Dedicated to the student organization. I do want to reiterate the process for the voting tonight. As is true of most democratic processes, even those who can vote don't often do so. So we have a number of members who may not vote tonight. The rules are the majority of the votes, whoever votes tonight that are members of Alumni 100, majority wins the entire $10,000. So you'll notice that vote counter on the upper right-hand corner. That's just the people who have voted so far. So we've got another few minutes. We're going to leave it open. We can watch the percentage as it ticks up.
Chris, I have a question. How many actually total people are available to vote? Like how many project
Total members do we have right now?
Yeah.
88. Okay, 88. So again, as always, this is my standard sales pitch as we're just about to distribute the money, is that we're always looking for new members. Reminder, we're still doing the founders option where you can pay $600 in recurring payments. You don't have to pay $600 but if you pledge to spend $600, you can be a founding member and you can get a brick in Founders Park. If you were here during homecoming, you saw a variety of those bricks being displayed on the placards and signs along the Founders Garden area. I do also want to say, for those of you who are not aware, the Woody's Wheels, which was the winning project from last year, is expected in March. It's being customized as we speak, and hopefully in the spring we'll see it with its speakers rocking and its wheels spinning down the mall walk here very, very shortly. I do want to give us just 2 more minutes until 7:20 for the remainder of people to get their votes in. For those of you that are at home, you won't see this, but we would like to, we'll mute this screen when the students return so that they can see the results. We'll have a little sneak preview, but we want to be able to. Seriously. 1 more minute. As a follow-up too, for any student organizations that are here, if you weren't aware, if you don't win tonight, you're always eligible to resubmit your project again. The winning project is not allowed to resubmit for at least 1 more semester, but any of the remaining projects are able to submit again. So all is not lost.
Ask him. It's sort of a bow tie, which is a signature move of
Still at 7:19 according to the clock I have on this computer, which I assume is accurate. Votes are still coming in. If I had a drum roll, I would use it.
Of course, it's anonymous, but they want to ask for funding.
I would like to read one of our comments out loud because I think it's funny regardless of where you fall. Anonymous has said, I suspect Russian audio interference in this process. Do with that information what you will. All right, it is officially 7:20. It does look like we have a quorum, and it looks like we have a majority for Timby Media Productions. So I think we should all congratulate ourselves on getting this process to work. Always has to not be the tiebreaker. So with that, I think we'll go ahead and invite our students back in. We will mute this projector so they cannot see. And then in the final moments, we'll just take some pictures, allow our student groups to thank. 20 students to thank our groups, and we'll just We are all available to stay out here in this reception area and grab some more food, grab some more drink, and hang out for a while. Be sure to talk to some of the students and get their take on the process. Welcome in, guys. Take a seat right up front.
Yep.
I continue to work in banking and actually I started teaching over a year ago.
The results are going to pop up behind you, so sure. All right, I will ask our audience to give us a little bit of a drum roll so we can have and 3. Here it is. All right, with 68% of the vote. Grandiose.
Well, first off, thank you all so much for donating to this great project. All the projects that they've done so far with Project 100, it's been incredible to get that and to be able to have these funds for Timmy Media. We're just absolutely thrilled. We can't wait to share all of this creative media with all of you. So thank you.
All right, and with that, I would like to go ahead and conclude our event this evening. Thank you so much for those of you that were able to winter weather to join us. I am looking forward to a 3-hour drive to Rochester Hills this evening. So, if you have any questions, if you know anyone else who would be interested in joining Annual Project 100, which in my opinion is one of the best fundraising opportunities we have for the university. It directly involves our student, it directly involves our alumni. It allows us to definitely impact our campus in a very positive way. If you know of anyone, be sure to direct them to the website. They can sign up from there. Without further ado, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you the next time around. Thank you.